All right, so very briefly, usually use this slide to introduce Epygi. We've been around for 23 years. So we're an American company, about 30 employees in 3 locations. And we started shipping appliances under the Quadro name many years ago and eventually switched it over to the QX line, which is what we ship today. And we added cloud services a few years back, which is a growing part of our business with 2 products. One is a ECMON monitoring platform, and the other one is the virtualized QX called ECQX, or short for Epygi Cloud Epygi Cloud QX. Advantage of Epygi. Well, we got mature quality products. We specialize on the PBX side of things. We don't have endpoints and other things, and that allows us to focus on the functionality and the things you'll be looking on a PBX, and that's what we focus on. Maintenance is free. You can go to our portal and download software versions for the product. You have to pay for that. We have an excellent technical support team. We typically do that through a ticket system on our support portal that you can register, support.epygi.com, or from our website. And as an integrator, you register, we activate your account, and then we can give you some tickets if you're new to us. And we usually handle through a ticket system our support, or by phone, or as needed. Big thing for us is you have the freedom to use your own SIP endpoint. Over 250 models of phones that we auto configure. We don't have a desk phone, but we make it easy for you by testing all these devices. You don't have to do that yourself. If you pick up something from our list, then you save a lot of time. You can do most of the stuff nowadays either on the extension side or on the trunk side is all SIP, but we do have analog phone connectivity capability, as well as either analog or digital trunk connectivity. I'll mention a little bit about that later on. We do not sell to end users. We go through resellers or through distributors that go through resellers. That is very important. We're not going to take away your customer from you. We depend on you. We want you to make money. If you make money, we make money. We're not going to go around you. And we don't publish our prices. I mean, our prices may be available out there, but we don't actively publish our prices. So the idea is that you can mark up as you can get away with, give you more flexibility in that sense. And we have what we call the best of both worlds. We have cloud and PBX appliances. They all are configured through the same GUI. The next bullet item here is we call an enhanced ecosystem. Essentially, what it says is that we have been working on integrating with other applications. Create we call an ecosystem, and some of those are listed in here. For example, we can interact with MS Teams on the base system. We also have CRM connectivity. There's 3 CRMs listed in there: vTiger, Salesforce, and Zoho. For hotels, we can integrate to pretty much any property management system out there through some interfaces, third-party middleware, either from Tiger TMS, from Char, or now we have a new company called Global VHS, and they all have middleware for this type of connectivity. We do work with WebRTC. We have WebRTC server for receiving WebRTC calls on our high-end appliances and our cloud products. And we're actually actively working on creating new features based on WebRTC to be released soon in some future software releases. If you have your own application and you want to interact with our PBX, we have what we call third-party code control, 3PCC API, and allows you to create programs to work with your application, whether it's a predictive dialer or some sort of a billing system. And there's some methods in there, XML RPCs, REST APIs, and so forth. We also have Chrome Click to Dial. It's pretty much an add-on to the Chrome browser where you can just hover your mouse over a telephone number, a window pops up, it lets you click to dial that destination number and connect it to your extension. And obviously, we have tested with many SIP trunk providers. In particular, we mentioned Clearfly here, which is a very good partner of ours, and we actually recommend them if you're looking for SIP trunks. And as I said before, many SIP phone brands and models. Only one slide on the appliances. Just showing here the smallest, the QX20, and the largest, the QX5000. The 20 starts at 12 extensions. The 5000 can grow to 5,000 extensions. And we have 9 appliances uh, to offer you, so you got plenty to select from. Increasing, obviously, in the number of extensions, simultaneous call capacity, and capabilities on features like call recording, audio conference, and so on. We do have 2 of them that are hybrid. They got FXS and FXO, but the rest of them are pretty much all IP. Of course, you can use traditional handsets on the analog ports, or you can use SIP handsets, which is what everybody pretty much is using nowadays. And if you want to connect surveillance cameras, door openers that are SIP-based, we also work with those devices. Actually, we have tested some of those in our lab here. Finally, well, gateways. We have 4 gateway models, single T1, 4-port FXO on the trunk side if you want to still use those connections on the trunk side. ISD MBRI, which is mostly for European and installations. And then a 24-port FXS, which is very usable on this application of assisted living and hotels where you want to use analog phones in either patient rooms, if I want to call them patients, or hotel rooms instead of SIP devices. It has 24-port FXS on a RJ21 telco connector, converting FXS ports to SIP, which you can connect to any of the PBX models. Finally, on the appliance side, actually it's appliance and cloud, we do have a line called the SC, which stands for simultaneous call or concurrent call. Essentially, it's a different way of pricing the product, where instead of selling the product with a maximum call capacity capability right off the box, which is what we have on the QX line, and then it comes with a basic set of extensions that are expandable via licenses. This model, this pricing model, what it does is you get 100 extensions on the base system and then 2 simultaneous calls, concurrent calls, and then you can expand with licenses on the concurrent call side to what you want, what you need. We do have 2 appliances on this model, the QX-SC and QX-SC-FXO, and with pretty much all of the features included on the QX line. And we also have a cloud version, which is a ECQX-SC. And in this particular case, it is hosted by Epygi. And the reason I say that is that the regular ECQX can be hosted by you on a license model that allows you to license the software and host it by yourself. In the case of this is ECQX SC, the only option we have is being hosted by Epygi. Why is this important in this webinar? Is because in many hotels / assisted living, you may have very low concurrent call count, but you need a lot of extension. It particularly happens on hotels. You know, we may have a hotel room with 200 rooms, but you know how many calls you have from there is very small, and you may choose to use this option versus the other model, and just do it by concurrent calls. All right. Now, benefits of using QX. Now, I have 4 slides in here, pretty much the meat of what is going to be presented today. And essentially, it's kind of looking at different functionalities that are applicable on this assisted living type scenario. Well, first of all, our devices are modular, compact. It has nothing to do with assisted living, but I forgot to mention that on the earlier slides. We auto configure a lot of phones, which is very valuable. You can pick and choose, and there are many. You may be able to use SIP phones on the management areas of the assisted living, and then if you have on the rooms, you may be able to use analog phones that are cheaper, more simpler, and in any case, if they get broken, it's not going to be a big expense. Or you can use SIP phones if you like. Um, and in this particular case, the FXS24 comes in handy. So if you got, let's say, 100 analog, 100 rooms, you can put 4 of the FXS24 gateways to convert that to SIP and bring it into the PBX. You can also use paging groups, either one or many paging groups. We have flexibility in that area. So you can have common areas on a paging group, different sections of your facility on different paging groups, as well as an overall, and use as designated extensions assigned to those paging groups. You can also page through phones. You can include on a paging group an individual phone. What happens is when you page, and you include a phone, the phone will go hands-free automatically and then play the page that you have. The pages, we can do it either live or we can do a store and forward, like you see on some airports where you page and they hang up and then you hear the page on the system. So as far as devices, there are many devices out there, paging devices from the SNOM PA1. The Fanville has a similar device that connects to either directly to a speaker or to existing amplifiers, connect us to several speakers. There's also other vendors, CyberData, SNOM, Fanville, Viking, Algo. They all have SIP devices. Now, we don't auto-configure paging devices. They're manually configured, but it's not much different than what you do with a phone. Now, with paging, you can also do multicast. In this particular case, you configure a multicast group, an ID, I believe, where the PBX can cast to that group and that ID, and then through your local network. And I think the assumption is that everything is on the same network. Your switches should be able to support multicast, and that way you broadcast this paging through the network, and then all the devices that are assigned that multicast ID and group will be able to page the announcement. So we support multicasting paging. Now, this feature here, the last one on the list, is an interesting one. You, for example, if you want to monitor a nurse station, wants to monitor a room, she can or he can use a calling activation code through our call routing table and dial an extension in a room, let's say room 25, and force the phone to go hands-free and listen in to what the sounds on the room, for example. Now, obviously, there's a privacy issue with that, but again, this is all depending how you want to configure this. But if you're talking about a nurse, if she'll be able to see or want to hear, I wonder what's going on in this room, for example, she can actually do that. Once she's done, she can hang up the phone. Obviously, this only works with SIP devices. Analog devices, you cannot do that because analog phones, you pretty much have to remove the handset from the cradle to do loop closure and be able to get connected. But again, it's a feature that may be useful to in some applications. Now, eCall is the only phone that we have. It is a software phone, and we have it for Windows, Android, and iPhone. And it's a popular item. It is an Epygi soft phone. It doesn't work with any other PBX system. Only works with us. And there are many ways to configure that, but one way that you can use eCall in your facility is to have staff mobility. They can have that on their cell phone, or in the case that you want to have a Wi-Fi SIP phone like Fanville or Yelink, you can do that too and give it mobility. But if you use eCall, they can install that application on their mobile device. They can be walking around the facility. And if you configure that as a parent-child extension, it essentially acts as an additional endpoint to your desk phone. So someone calls in your desk, but you're running around the facility, it's still going to ring your eCall. You can answer the call to receive that call, or if you want to make an outbound call, you can do the same thing. So eCall is a very important device, I would say, useful on these applications. If you want to do video, you can use video phones. I have a camera and a screen, or you can use eCall with video. A lot of people use video for this call. We even have a video conference option. It's not a Brady Bunch type Zoom like, but it is a switchable video. We switch the video of the person talking on the conference call. That way you can see only the person talking and you're not cluttered with a very small image. And as I mentioned earlier, you can connect to door openers, devices, Mobotics, 2N, Axis, Fanville. They all have devices. We have tested some of their models here and there, every now and then. Analog phones, Cetis has 3 brands of phones that are for hospitality / assisted living. They could be some of them that are actually even large buttons, for old folks that cannot really see the buttons very well. They got big keypads, or they have big speed dial buttons with ability to put a picture, instead of a name, to make it easier for them to make a call out of the rooms. Um, uh, VTech also has some analog phones. Hospitality phones for hotels, you can get it from Fanville, VTech, and some others. So, and actually Cetis too. So, many endpoints that could be used for these applications. Actually, the picture you see here with a white phone is an example of a big key phone. There's even some phones that I don't think we have tested though, but there's some phones that have a pendant where you can have the phone in the room on the assisted living, and then the person can have a pendant. If they push the pendant, it actually goes to the phone, and the phone makes a phone call to, I guess, the nursing station. If you're interested in doing anything like that, let us know. Let us know the model, and we can investigate and see if it will work with Epygi. So, what do you do with incoming calls? Well, there are many things to do here. Um, you can actually, let's say, receive a call to a receptionist, which she can either use a desk phone or she can use our eCall soft phone with our receptionist console, which we have available. It's a separate pane on the Windows, not on the mobile, but on the Windows, where you can actually see selected extensions that you can get an incoming call and then transfer calls via the mouse to those extensions, do consultative transfer or blind transfer, and so forth. Or you can go to an auto attendant and you can have one or many auto attendants on the QX. You can have them nested if you like. Or if you have an auto attendant that is very large and nested because you were experimenting with it to be able to reach to the proper person within the facility, we have a auto attendant history where you can go back and figure out how people are navigating the auto attendant and tweak the auto attendant accordingly. Okay, so we do have that option too. All right. You can also do day-night service. May have a reception during the day or maybe a ring group, and then at nighttime go to the auto attendant, or the auto attendant go automatically either have a selection for certain staff to be on night duty, or maybe go directly to a group voicemail box where people can leave a voicemail mailbox and we'll go to a group. Now you can have on your phones, you can have BLF keys. One could be group voicemail, lights up saying there's a group voicemail available. Anybody with that key program can push a button and get that voicemail and then act accordingly. So there are many ways that you can manipulate incoming calls, massage calls. You can even send calls to cell phones. You can allow cell phone users to call back, and you don't need to use a cell phone number. With eCall, you can just hide your cell phone. Let's say a physician wants to call back, I don't know, the family of a nursing home patient, and he doesn't have to reveal his cell phone number. All right. Now, if you have a call center, let's say you have a assisted living, multiple locations, and you want to have a centralized call center with agents that log in and log out. You may want to have supervisors that manage that. Our call center options, we have several different products. They're all web-based, whether it's inbound call manipulation, outbound call campaigns, activation, deactivation of agents, and all sort of statistics. We have that through our call center package, and EAC, ACD, AOC, auto dialer. So that is something that we can explore separately if you have a need for that. And again, agents don't need to be in one location. They could be working from home. They can log in and log out and add in and out to that group that will manage the queues for the call center incoming calls. Find me, follow me, or parent-child. Again, this is just a way of using multiple endpoints. And find me, follow me, what we do is an incoming call goes to your desk phone. Then if you don't answer, goes to your cell phone. If you don't answer, goes to your secretary, all in sequence, or you can do it all simultaneous ring. But essentially, you're dialing other extensions. In the parent-child is just one parent extension, and the children essentially take the identity of that extension. So it's a group of phones or endpoints that act as one and the same. Dial and announce. This is a very interesting feature. Essentially what it does is if you want to have certain notifications, it could be a panic button. It could be a panic button in a room. You may have a nurse that may go into a room and she needs some assistance. She goes to the phone. If it's an IP phone, there may be a BLF button to push and then do a dial and announce to certain extensions in the administrative area or in the nurse station and play a pre-recorded message, assistance on room 205. You also have the ability to, as you page, I don't want to call it page, but as you make the announcement to this group of extensions, you could also make an announcement to extensions that are paging devices. So you can effectively do it on a paging system through a paging device by including that extension in that announcement. So we use the example of a panic button, but it could be anything else. It could be extensions, for example, that have activities in the facility. And then you say, okay, we got, I don't know, Joe got 3. And you may go and you know that for yoga, you either push a button to make the announcement for yoga or you dial extension 42 and that plays a pre-recorded message through the selected phones and devices that you have yoga 3 p.m. in the yard, for example. All right. There is a variation of that dial and announce. It's called scheduled notification. So all it is on the QX you program so that at certain times and days you do the same thing as dial and announce, except that it's done automatically through scheduling. These are probably more suitable for repeated activities. Maybe even in a school, it could be ring a bell for class change, for example. So you can use schedule notifications for that. All right. In the case of assisted living, it could be SIP trunks or it could be T1 or FXO. Just again, mentioning that we have that capability through our gateways to connect to existing trunks or a combination of both. Now, if you do now for 911 calls, we do have alarm reporting notifications. On 911, typically it goes directly transparent through the PBX to the, call a 911 center through your existing trunk, but you have the option to reporting on selected number of extensions in different ways. It could be SMS if you subscribe to that service. It could be leaving a voicemail, or you could be also using the dial and announce capability for 911 calls going out. So it's a capability of being able to report to administration that a 911 call has been placed from a specific extension. That way, in the case of a hotel, for example, emergency personnel comes in to the reception area, and then they can say that, yeah, the 911 call was originated from extension 205, which is building 2, second floor, room 205, for example. So it gives them more direct location services. So there's some connectivity or integration that we have done with Telnix that offers something called dynamic E911. Essentially, what you do is that you send the 911 call to them. They in turn send that to the PSAP, and then they based on information that you have stored on the QX that has been passed on to them previously. It provides detailed location information. And the way we do it is that you enter that information on the QX. It is sent via API to the Telnix system, and then when the call is originated, we pass a token to them, and they look at that up on their table and pass that on to the PSAP. So it's just a way of doing enhanced location services through them. But I mean, those are all options, or you may have some other E911 type service being used. All right. If you want to have phones on general visitor area that people can pick up and you allow them local calls, but not to call Australia, you can use call authorization codes on those phones. So, they can still use the phone either for internal extension calling, but are not allowed to do long distance unless they have a call authorization code. Or if you block long distance calls altogether, you can do that on the call routing table. And I already mentioned for hotels applications, the use of CHAR, Global BHS, or Tiger for the PMS connectivity. Now, in the hotel scenario, we do have a hotel application called EHC, Epygi Hotel Console. Now, this is for small hotels. It installs on their windows. It connects to the PBX. It's very basic, very simple. But what it does is that if you have a small hotel and that doesn't use PMS, you can use our application. It lets you activate, deactivate the room extensions. In other words, check in, check out. It gives you some basic billing. You can actually put a rate to different calls, and you get a little billing sheet that tells you, what calls have been done from that room. You can also have do not disturb or wake up calls done through that system, or you can use it for the cleaning people. They can go in the room, clean the room, pick up the phone, dial an extension with a code, and essentially on that application you can see if the room is cleaned or it needs to be cleaned, or whatever you decide to do there. It's called the EHC, and we have that available. All right. This is a diagram of a typical installation. Nothing fancy here, just an illustration. We're showing a QX2000, a QX200 or QX3000 PBX connected to paging system. There's a WAN connection to your SIP trunk provider on your LAN. You go to your switch with some IP phones. You also may want to have a T1 gateway connected to the PSTN. You may connect some cameras as extensions, and then your FXS24 gateway that would allow you to connect analog phones and convert them to IP on the rooms, and then your connectivity to your hotel PMS, right? Now, we're almost done here. Epygi Cloud Services. Like I mentioned earlier, we have two products, Cloud Monitoring Service and the Cloud PBX QX. And the advantages are, number one, it's a solid platform. It is built up on top of our on-premise devices. We run it in our data centers. It's not our data center. We run it in data centers redundant. So you subscribe to us, you're going to get a master instance, and you're going to see a slave in there. You only configure the master. We'll synchronize both. And if something goes wrong with the master, the slave will take over. So we run it redundant. It comes with our support team, assist you in not only configuring your first couple of installs, but we allow you to have a demo and assist you in configuring the demo. So part of what Epygi does is hand-holding the dealer. If you're new to us, you don't have time to read manuals, figure it out by yourself. You want to sell, you want to make money. We know we want to be your technology partner. And in such a sense, we want to know what you need, what features you want to configure, and we want to get you there as quickly as possible by assisting you. First with a demo, you can play with it in your lab, you may even try with a customer, and then when you got a couple of serious installs, we'll assist you with those configurations. The idea is that once you do this a couple of times, talk to our support team, go through our training, you're going to be pretty much ready to run. And then we'll help you with those features that are unusual. You only need a certain feature, like let's say hot desking every now and then. You don't know how to configure it, just call us. We'll help you with that. And that's a big difference Epygi has over other vendors in this space. All right. We have advanced functions. We got the platform to monitor your systems. Very good pricing. I think we're very competitive in that sense. Have the appliances or the cloud, whatever you want to do. The GUI is exactly the same. So you can switch whenever you need to. And the biggest one of them all, I think, is that the freedom to be able to use your own SIP endpoint. We don't force you to have an Epygi phone for your desktop because we don't have one. All right. So I think on the cloud PBX, you add your SIP trunks. The endpoint provision is the same as what we do with the on-premise. We push template to the phones. Once the phones find out where the cloud instance is, typically the cloud instance is going to be something like your customer name.epygcloud.com. And as when you point the phone to that URL, and the phone finds the provisioning server in our PBX, it will push the template to the phone. You don't have to open the GUI of the phone for that. It's instance based. Each customer has their own instance. So we're not sharing a multi-tenant software with different end customers. We do have at our epygcloud.com portal, or we also are on the ClearFly ClearConnect portal, which I mentioned is a good partner of us on the SIP trunking side. And they do have a portal where they have several vendors. They have Epygi. You can order from there, get their SIP trunk, and they also do billing services for you. But we also have our own Epygi Cloud portal where we sell the ECMON and the ECQX instances. It includes the eCall softphone, one per extension. You don't have to buy any licenses or have to pay any maintenance or any support. Everything is included, so there's no hidden fees in here for you. I think it's a very low cost to entry. The prices that we have, it could be as low as $375 an extension a month, depending how many extensions you got. But there's plenty of margin for you to make on our cloud, and even provide your customer with savings over some of the other Ring Centrals and whatnots of the world. And that's key. Good margin for you. Whatever you can get away with, that's your ticket. All right. And for some partners and some carriers, we do have a software as a service, so to speak, where we provide our software as a licensable item. We don't, in this case, we don't host it. I mean, you say, okay, I'm going to have my own hosting scenario. I just want your software and license the use of that. Obviously, it will be cheaper than being hosted by us. You want to try it? Give us a call. We'll help you out. Let you try it for free. Okay. And then finally, our ECMON. Essentially, it's a tool for you as an integrator to manage your instances in the cloud or your on-premise appliances. So besides statistics of licenses usage, the ability to save and restore configurations, the ability to see what type of concurrent calls are you getting at any given time frame, ability to manage your music on hold, ability to update firmware remotely, and also set up alarms for events. For example, you can set up events for bad quality calls, and they would alarm you, send you an email, and then you can go there and see what call was bad at what time, from what customer, from what extension, and be proactive. Call them up and say, hey, Joe, you're having some bad quality calls reported by your system. Let's take a look at your network, see what's going on. I think these are valuable things that you can do as an integrator to be proactive with your customer, because sometimes bad quality calls do happen, but your customer doesn't call you until it's a little bit too late. They're already very upset. So being proactive, I think, works in your advantage. And last but not least, if you have appliances on premise, you can remotely log into the appliance GUI, change configurations through the EasyMon tool. You don't have to drive out there to do this or open holes in their router and firewall to be able to get to the appliance behind their network. All right, this is the last slide here. I think we're doing a little bit over the time here, but I just want to mention that the soft phone pretty much has all of the things you want on a soft phone, from history of calls, directories of extensions on the PBX or your Outlook and so forth, or favorites, history of calls. I already mentioned that. You can do presence. You can also have multiple SIP accounts or line appearances, and it can do instant messaging between eCall users or have SMS. We have SMS available on eCall with certain carriers. You can put your own logo, put your own color in the banner, and it has 20 BLF keys. So you can program those keys for whatever you like, the same way you will do on a regular desk phone. It comes in the ECQX Cloud platform included for the appliances. You buy a license to activate that on a permanent basis. All right. Contact us, sales@epygi.com, or this is our main phone number for sales, and visit our website. So this concludes the presentation today. I do have some questions in here from the chat. I'm going to answer those. Jamie's asking, can Epygi do multicast direct from the PBX? No SNOM or other third-party box required. Now, we do multicast from the PBX, but then when we mention SNOM or fan-built boxes, receiving the multicast and then connect it to speakers or amplifiers for paging. So yes, we actually send the multicast from the PBX. Do all QX have connection for analog paging? We do have a audio out, which is a low voltage line audio on the small boxes. Anything from the QX20 to the QX500 has a small analog output that you can connect to the low voltage analog input of a paging device, like a Bogan or one of those. But it has to be low voltage. It's not amplified. Okay, so you put a speaker there, it's not going to work. So anything from the 20 to the 500 have that capability, and you can include that on a paging group. Measure voice quality, MOS. Well, I don't think it's an MOS per se. It's a we do have like a semaphore type rating for, and I think you can adjust that. I don't know what the default is, but the essentially it's green, yellow, and red, and it depends on packet loss, jitter buffer, and some of those voice quality parameters there that we can set up the light level for the threshold for that, and then report you if it's red or if it's yellow. I think that's the way. I probably have to get back to you on an answer for that, Jamie. All right. And I got a last question here that says, the EC software, am I correct in saying that it's not multi-tenant design? Yes, each customer is a separate session. So when you use our cloud through us, we spin an instance only for your customer. But you don't have to worry about that. We'll take care of that. Okay, so it's all independent. You could have, let's say, 10 instances with us for your customers. They could all be, there's no dependency on one to the other. Okay. So it is not a multi-tenant. You configure each PBX individually. All right.